I recently achieved my 10-year anniversary of driving for both Uber and Lyft. Today we're going to discuss my lifetime stats and earnings, as well as some other interesting things. Really quickly, if you have yet to download the Solo app to help you manage your rideshare business and earn more, our referral link will be in the description. In my previous video, I discussed why I started driving for Uber and Lyft 10 years ago and why I've continued to drive for them to this day. But in this video, we're just going to discuss earnings and stats, so let's jump right into those. Alright, so first off, in terms of total rides, I've given 24,312, 12,894 of those have been with Lyft, and 11,418 of those have been with Uber. That averages out to about 2,400 rides per year, which is about 46 rides per week over the 10 years. And that 46 rides per week is average over the 10 years. The first couple of years, I wasn't giving a ton of rides per week. From about 2016 to 2020 were the bulk of my rides. I was probably on some weeks, I was averaging 80 rides per week. And in 2020, during the peak of COVID, I was actually off for 5 months. So my rides were really down that year. I have also driven a total of 237,644 miles, which averages out to be about 24,000 miles per year. The most miles I drove in a single year were 31,134 in 2016, and the least amount was 13,736 in 2020. And 90% of those miles were on my previous vehicle, my 2013 Kia Optima Hybrid, which I got just over 250,000 miles out of. You may have seen my videos on the channel about that vehicle crossing the 250,000 mile mark last year, and then I had to replace that vehicle with my new vehicle, which is a 2021 Kia K5 GT line, and I've put just over 10,000 rideshare miles on my new vehicle in the last 6 months. Alright, now let's get to the meat of it. Let's look at my lifetime earnings. As far as my earnings on Uber, in gross receipts, which includes tips and all fees, I've generated about $155,000. Of that $155,000, $49,000 of it was fees, which equates to a total net payout of about $106,000. I also earned just over $20,000 in bonuses, so my total earnings on Uber are about $126,000. Now, as far as Lyft, my gross receipts are about $153,000. Of that $153,000, about $50,000 of it was in fees, for a total net payout of about $103,000. I've earned about $22,000 in bonuses on Lyft, so my total earnings on Lyft were right around $126,000 as well. Now overall, in terms of total gross receipts, it's about $308,000. Total fees about $98,000, which equates to a total net payout of about $209,000. The fees account for roughly 32% of gross receipts, and the total net payout about 68%. The total I've earned in bonuses is about $42,000, which brings my total earnings, which is what I've actually taken home over the 10 years, at just over $250,000 at $252,000. Alright, so just over about $250,000 in take-home pay over the last 10 years. I'd say overall about 7 of my 10 years have been part-time years, and 3 of those 10 years have been full-time years. Now, in terms of some other interesting things. First, what's the furthest away I've been from Minneapolis in all directions? I've been as far north as Monticello, Minnesota, which is about 39 miles from downtown Minneapolis. I've been as far south as Northfield, which is about 44 miles from downtown Minneapolis. I've been as far west as Victoria, which is about 27 miles from downtown Minneapolis. And I've been as far east as Hudson, Wisconsin, which is about 27 miles from downtown Minneapolis. Now let's take a look at the most I've ever earned on a ride. This ride was October 21st, 2019, and it was an Uber X. I earned $62.66. It was from the airport out to the suburbs. The duration was 40 minutes and the total distance was 28 miles. And the passenger included a $10 tip. And if we take a quick look at what the passenger actually paid, they paid a total of $100.96. Also, how about the longest ride I've given? This was that ride to Monticello, Minnesota, and this was back on May 6th of 2015, the second year that I was driving for Uber X. I earned $54.73, the total duration was 56 minutes, and the total distance was 48.8 miles. Alright, so there's my stats, my earnings, some other interesting tidbits in my 10 years of driving for both Uber and Lyft. Have any of you compiled your stats like this? How many rides have you given? How much have you earned? Leave your stats below in the comments. And if there are any other interesting things that you'd like me to discuss about my 10 years driving for both Uber and Lyft, leave a comment below with those. If you've yet to check out the Solo app, again, our referral link is in the description. We also have a free newsletter, and the link to sign up for that is in the description as well. If you've yet to watch my previous video on why I started driving for both Uber and Lyft 10 years ago, be sure to check that one out. Thanks again for watching and drive safe. Thanks.